and powerhouse is actually not even a strong enough word for what comes out of your mouth.
Stop.
So, I'll take that $5 now. So let's talk a little bit about when you discovered your voice and when you decided, you know what, I can sing. I'm going to do this as a career.
I would have to say I have a funny story. When I was in, I think, preschool, my mom went to go retrieve me from like my final class, and the teachers were like, you know, Chloe knows her basics and she's ready to progress to kindergarten or wherever I was going next. And they're like, but we noticed that she actually has perfect pitch and really great tone, just different from a normal kid. And my mom makes the joke, she's like, well, you know, I don't think they take him at the Met at this age, but you know what, I'll think about it, I'll consider it. So that was always kind of like the joke of when it started. But it kind of just happened. It was one of those things that I think I was naturally just good at. And I just really loved music from the time I can remember buying my first CD, which was Mariah Carey in like 3rd grade. I just was obsessed, and things happened rather quickly for me at a young age, but it was just one of the things I was good at it, and I kept pushing at it, and one thing after the other, and so I'm a singer.
Was Mariah an inspiration to you, or were there other people that were inspirations?
Mariah definitely was. I mean, when you're a kid, you love pop music, and
Yeah.
I mean, I grew up a little bit on like Wilson Phillips and Gloria Estefan, and
All people that you sing way off the top. No offense to any of you fine ladies that you just mentioned,
but it was like pop, and that's like what my mom listened to. Like it wasn't super deep music. I mean, I think the biggest singers I listened to when I was really young was maybe like a Barbra Streisand, and then when I was starting to like figure out what pop music was and paying attention to what was on the radio, Mariah was super big. It was Fantasy was the song, and I was just like, whoa, I can do that, and I just started emulating her, and then from there it's just a wormhole of amazing singers to amazing songwriters and amazing artists. And my influences, they range, it's a huge range. It's like when everyone says, like, who's your favorite singer? Who's your favorite artist? I literally can't tell you. There's too many.
and now you have performed with really huge people like Trans-Siberian Orchestra.
Yeah.
You were in Rocktopia.
Yeah.
Talk a little bit about your journey to both of those shows.
Well, when I was 12, I had my first record deal with RCA Records, which kind of began my professional career. And from there, I met a ton of people that introduced me to other people, and it's just, you know, a trickle effect of meeting people. And this business is all about kind of who you know.
Yep.
And after years and blah, 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 I reconnected with a producer named Rick Wake, who was working with Yanni at the time, and I joined a project called Yanni Voices, which was a beautiful project, and I'm very grateful for it. We released a record, we toured, we did a PBS special, it was wonderful. And right around the same time that I actually started working with Yanni, I got a call from one of the kind of casting agents for TSO, who had kind of found me in the New York scene because I was just singing at a bunch of jams and just getting to know people. I just moved to New York at like 16 or something like that. And yeah, so she called me, and it was right when I was starting to work with Yanni, and I wasn't available to even go in an audition because I just said, I was like, sorry, I already took on this project. But then a couple years after that, I had moved to California. I was actually pursuing another record deal with Hollywood Records out there, and it just kind of happened, and perfect timing that they called me, and they were doing Beethoven's Last Night, which was going to be their first non-Christmas tour, and I came in and auditioned, and I got the part. So that was cool, and I'm still touring with TSO. They're my family. And from TSO, I actually met Rob Evan, who was one of the co-creators of Rocktopia, and
right.
he's been a huge fixture with TSO for many, many years. He's since departed just to work on, he's kind of more in the production and producer frame, but he still tours with Rocktopia, and he brought me in a couple years after its development and just said, I think you're kind of perfect for this. And I was like, oh, okay. And I auditioned, and then I had my Broadway debut, and that's it.
And for anybody who did not
That was kind of like really
That's all.
long-winded.
That's all
I'm
we
sorry.
have. That's all we have time for, folks. Chloe is done. She has done nothing since.
Good night.
We'll do nothing after. So, for any of those who did not get the opportunity to see you on Broadway, although we don't condone bootlegs, there happens to be a YouTube video from another performance, not on Broadway, where you are performing your show-stopping number. Just hearing it on YouTube. So imagine being in a Broadway theater with the acoustics and everything else, and literally, I don't know how the roof didn't blow off the
Oh.
place. And I'm not even
Yeah.
buttering you up because you're doing an interview. I literally flew out of my seat when you were done. Cell
you.
phone went flying. I'm serious. It was like an out of body experience.
Thank you.
Did you feel that every night when you were performing that song?
You know, I actually have a strange connection to that song. It was the #1 song in the year and the month that I was born, by heart. July in 1987, which I think it was just kind of like kismet. Like I think I'm supposed to sing that song. And Ann Wilson's always been such a huge influence. And that song, it's a really well-written song, and it's explosive and it's dynamic. It has all those things that I think a singer really wants to do with a song. So it's one of my favorite moments. I'm so comfortable in that song. It feels very much my own. So I love singing it. I still love singing it. Never get sick of it.
Well, you sit there and some of the notes that you hit in that song, you're like, wow, she's really good. And then you get even better hit better notes. And you're like, oh, this gotta be the end now. Nope. And then it goes on for like 37 odd seconds or something. It is absolutely insane what you do with that song.
Thank you.
Do you ever sing it in a more toned down way where it's not such a big production? Does it have a different vibe to it if you do it not with Rocktopia?
You know, the only other time that I've really done it are with other symphonies and different like rock shows. And most times the arrangements are similar. Because I mean, it's just a big bombastic song, but that would be an interesting rendition is to do it just more scaled down. So, yeah.
No,
I mean,
keep doing it the way
I totally would.
I was just asking.
Trust me, most of my repertoire, I mean, I'm so proud to be like a belter and a big singer, but trust me, I really get excited if I have a song that doesn't require me to sing like stratospheric notes and it's more about the intimacy of a song. Sometimes that's also equally as exciting.
But you feel, when you sing as an audience member, you really feel it. Like, that was just, I was blown away by it. I mean,
Thank you.
and so will anybody else who watches the YouTube video that we don't condone someone filming.
Cool.
Now, let's talk a bit about your new album, The In Between. I was lucky enough to get an advance copy this morning to listen to.
Yay!
Started writing down my favorite songs as we were going one by one, and I was like, there's no point because every song is fantastic.
Oh, stop. I want to hear what you think.
Honestly, I loved all of it.
Really?
I love the interludes that you put in because it's like, you're like, oh, it's an interlude. She's probably just going to sit there and talk or do something that's really not putting any power behind her voice. And it's like everything is just power and beautiful. And
Thank you.
it's a really, really great album.
Thank you.
You're welcome. That's the other $5.
Yeah. Gosh, I'm like getting
I
broke
know,
on this
is why I do
interview.
these interviews. I like to make side hustle.
You're like, this is how I afford my life.
So what was the inspiration behind this album?
I've always worked with great bands and I've done great shows like TSO, like Rocktopia. And I had another band here in New York that I worked with for several years, released a few EPs, and just kind of had record deals that didn't quite work out the way I wanted, but always the intention of being a solo artist. And I kind of went through a personal big life change, if you will. I felt completely lost, and everything was different and everything was new, and I kind of didn't know what to do, and I didn't know what musically and professionally. It was just like everything was at a turning point, and I really didn't know what to do. So I kind of took it upon myself to challenge myself to sit down and just try to write some things on my own, which I'd never done. I'd always either collaborated with people or sang other people's music, but never just solely did it on my own. So it was more of an experiment just to kind of vent my thoughts and process my feelings and all the things that I was going through in the form of music. And kind of the album came out really organically as I was kind of going through these like series of changes, going from grief and acceptance and forgiveness and all these things that started with the loss of a relationship, which ended up turning into more or less self-discovery. So it kind of just organically fell into my lap, and that's what the whole record is. And it kind of talks about the time that people go through when you're not like at your most happy, and you're not maybe like completely down. You're just somewhere in the middle where you're just like, I'm lost and I don't know what to do. How do I deal? And that's just kind of my journey and my story, which I think is, although very personal for me, it's very relatable. It's very relatable.
It was very relatable
Yeah.
listening to the music.
Thank you.
You also do 2 duets on the. What was it like singing? Not that you haven't ever sung with anybody before, but this is like your own music. It's your own, your own baby.
Yeah.
What was that like singing with others?
Well, the duet, the big duet, is with my dear friend Nathan James, who's his band's name Inglorious, and he was in TSO and he's done many things, but he's just a freak of a singer, phenomenal. He'll actually be singing at my show, which is so exciting.
You left me good, you left me dry, but loving always has a price. And this time it's two breaking hearts, and my pride cannot be compromised. Can't hear the truth through these blinds. So close your eyes to somebody else. Fly to your stars of blue, and go tell your heart to somebody new, 'cause love ain't enough to get us through. So baby, give it up for you. No more goodbyes, baby, now. Give it up for you. It's still the fair, the memories that shine to my heart. It's not love, what I'm living for. The change we could not foresee. It's a loneliness comes to me. So don't tell your problems to somebody else. Tell them your whole life's true. It's leave you astray, 'cause the dreams don't see won't be enough to get us through. So baby, give it up for you. Give it up. No more goodbyes, baby. Give it up for you. Give it up.
had in the back of my mind ever since I met Nathan that if there was ever an opportunity for us to sing together that really made sense, I definitely wanted to pursue that. And I really sat on that song and I was like, this is the song. So I rewrote the lyrics and I called him up and I said, hey, I think I have this song. Our voices blend so well together. Let's try it. And unfortunately, we didn't have the opportunity to work together because he's based out of London. But I sent him the idea and I said, hey, just go make it your own. Go live with it. Do it. And what he sent back is exactly what you hear on the record. And it's emotional, if anything.
Yeah, it's a beautiful song.
It's a beast of a song.
How long did it take you from the concept of the album to releasing it?
I mean, it's been over, I think, a year and a half, and then probably like half a year just kind of getting all the pieces together, which I think when you're putting out your first record, like it's good to take the time because you have the time.
Absolutely.
Post first record, if there's more of a demand, you always have to fly a little bit. And I'm in no rush. I'm not chasing any fads. I'm not trying to compete with the teenagers. This is sophisticated pop, if you will. There's no rush.
There's no competing with you.
No.
For especially any of the teenagers.
No, but I'm not chasing anything. So
Yeah.
I just, for myself, for my fans, truly for myself, I just wanted to make sure it was a complete thought. And I just took the time to do that. And I mean, a complete thought on all ends, from how we're releasing it to the people that are involved, making the release happen. So yeah.
So obviously you were speaking about how it's such a personal album for you. Was it cathartic?
For sure.
Performing and writing the songs?
Very cathartic. Truly, it was just I think everyone can relate on this level of just when you are completely lost and you don't know what you're doing and you don't know right from left or where your next step is, and the future is always so scary. The unknown is completely scary. This was just the only way. I couldn't quite understand how I was feeling, so I was just like, I'm just gonna put it to music, and music has always been therapeutic for me. So that was just the way I could do it, and truly it was cathartic because it helped me kind of get recenter and figure out again like who I was, and most importantly what I think I've always struggled with for years was just finding my voice as an artist, because I do sing so many styles of music, and I completely wrote this without judgment and just sang what felt right, and everything it sounds like me, which I was like, I found it.
Yeah. Speaking of sounding like you, as I mentioned ad nauseum, I did see Rocktopia, and I wonder if people will get that.
Did you see Rocktopia?
Yeah, I was in the audience maybe once. Had a very subdued reaction to your vocal performance. If you hear you in that piece, people could say, oh, it's Broadway, the acoustics, the this, the that, maybe her performance is enhanced. Then you listen to this record, and you're still phenomenal. You hit it out of the park every time. You can tell that it's not an overproduced record. You can tell that it's coming from you and your full voice. So I have to compliment you on that.
Thank you.
You're not
Thank
a
you.
one-trick pony, that's for sure.
No, I really, really appreciate that. I mean, everybody has an opinion, and this record isn't for everyone. I'm sure, and I'm completely aware of that. It's just that's how I listen to music. But I do hope people at least take away that it's an honest emotion, it's an honest vocal, it's an honest album, and that's all.
What are some of the hurdles that you've had to overcome in getting the album made? Was there, since it is from you, you probably didn't have any problems with like what you wanted to put out creatively because it's all from you, right?
Yeah, I think initially the biggest hurdle was just what did I want to do? What did I want to say? Just artistically, I think it was a little daunting, but because I was like, I don't know what I'm going to do. I don't know what's going to come out. And I just, like I said, without judgment, just kind of put something out as a challenge to myself. And then more of the bigger challenges, I think, was just kind of like, what's the best way to execute this? I mean, it's a completely different world right now, and with the labels, and there really are no more labels, and people are doing everything independently. And I went the independent route specifically because I have had record labels before, and no disrespect to record labels, but I think I'm of an age where I kind of want to do what I want to do.
As you should.
And I wanted to put out exactly what I wanted to put out, and that's kind of where I went.
And that's nothing to be ashamed or feel like you shouldn't say that, because all of the teen acts do their thing with the teen scene, and then they go do their own thing once they've established themselves. So
absolutely, it's a strange it's a strange market right now for artists, and there's so many artists because I mean truly anybody who thinks they have a laptop, they can just think that they can produce and write music, and it's great and that's freeing and that's awesome because you know everyone's getting the opportunity. It's not like the old days where you know you had to go into the big studios and have the big producer, and we have a lot of computer tricks. But I took advantage of the independent side, and I was able to work with Pledge Music, and I also just have other people that are involved that have really just believed in me and really wanted to make this happen. So
that's what's great about your album is there are no computer tricks. It's
many.
It's just a voice. The voice of a goddess is literally what it is.
So
that's the third $5. I'm gonna get up to $20 on this interview.
I know. I'm like, hey,
I got one more $5 compliment in me.
me.
What would you like to do going forward? Are you going to immediately start working on another album? Are you going to bask in this and tour with this music?
I believe, I mean, the plan is to tour for sure. My favorite place to be is on stage, and that's just where that's my happy place. So I'd like to go there. That's the plan. But the second album is already in the works. I've already got it mapped out.
Good.
And yeah, I mean, I want. My plan is I want to be a prolific songwriter and artist. I want to put out as much music as I can because, I mean, I do write a lot. I write in with my spare time and touring. And yeah, the goal is just to hopefully be touring, singing, and making music.
Well, thank God you're on a stage because it changes your life, but your vocals and your music change ours. So I very much appreciate you taking the time to meet up with me.
Of course.
I'm looking forward to all the acclaim you're going to get from this album.
Thank you.
It's wonderful.
You should come see Rocktopia. I mean, I know you've never seen it.
I've never seen Rocktopia. In case you didn't know, she does sing a song by heart. She may or may not have a little bit of vocal power behind her when she sings, but whatever, I'll leave it up to you people. Because I'm no shill for Rocktopia.
Perfect.
Thank you so much, Chloe.
Bye.
Oh, thank you. Well, this is my album debut show. My album comes out on Friday. So if you haven't pre-ordered it, definitely check it out. I spent a lot of time on this record, almost 2 years. So I'm just going to share a little bit of that with you, if that's all right. Yeah? All right, so this one's called Renegade.
I was just born a winner, but nothing could keep